Hey guys, welcome back here to Intuitive Angling, and really appreciate you guys swinging by the channel to check out today's episode. And guys, today I want to give some tips and advice on how to catch a short striking bass. A lot of times you'll see a bass come up and blow a topwater up and not get it, or you see a bass that, you get ready to pull your lure out of the water and you see a bass chase it and move off, or, you feel a strike and you don't get it, or maybe you do catch the fish and they're hooked by one barb. So these are timid fish that are they're not committing to the bait. So I'm going to give you guys some tips and advice on how to get them to eat that bait a little bit better. Also, guys, to get started, a couple quick things here. Just a quick reminder, anybody interested in booking an on-the-water lesson with me, just go to my Facebook page, Intuitive Angling with Randy Blaukat. Shoot me a message and I'll get you all the details on a private on-the-water lesson with me. And also, guys, you may have heard me talking about it, but I was talking about my favorite April jig color, which is my black and chartreuse Blaukat Throwback jig. I'll have my throwback jig link in the description. Living rubber, hand-tied skirt, black and chartreuse with the blue trailer, pitching it and flipping it around stained water. Guys, it'll get you a good fish, so I appreciate that. And thanks for all the support and supporting the channel, guys. Okay, this is very common. It's like short striking fish are, and it's even more common today in today's world of fishing because we have so much fishing pressure. There's two factors that cause bass to short strike. One is weather conditions, weather patterns, and the other is fishing pressure. And they're both pretty equal in terms of what they do. I probably think that fishing pressure and activity is a bigger factor, contributes to that. And here's what happens. It's like bass have evolved to understand that increased noise on the lake in terms of like outboard motor noise, trolling motor noise, electronic pings, that puts them into a negative feeding mode, because you got to think about it. From the time a bass is hatched out, they hear that noise and they understand that the higher the noise decibel levels, the more dangerous it is for them. Bass evolve quickly. I always talk about the fact that bass, they say that bass, the lineage of the largemouth bass has been on the planet for over 3 million years. And you do not survive as a species for 3 million years on this planet by learning slow and being stupid. They learn very quick. So bass have evolved and they've adapted to understand that when they have more noise on the water, it just puts them in a negative feeding mode. And that's why you get a lot of short strikers. They're still interested in the bait, but they don't want to commit to it. And the other is some type of a weather pattern. And usually the weather pattern involves something like a post-frontal condition where you have bright, high light intensity and not much wind. Those are two factors that cause a bass to strike short. And like I said, I think probably, if you put it on a scale of 1 to 10, I think that the fishing pressure and the activity on the boat is like a 10. And the weather patterns are going to be like a 6 or 7, in my opinion. Okay, here's some things you can do. If you notice that the fish you see them following your bait, for example, today when I was fishing on Table Rock, I had a lot of fish. I was getting ready to pull my bait out of the water, and I'd see them swim up and just move off of it like that. Something like that, or maybe, like I said, a fish blows your top water out of the water and they're hitting it with their mouth shut. Bass do that a lot, guys. Bass will hit a lure with their mouth shut a lot. And that's usually what happens there. Or, like I said, sometimes, like on a jerk bait, you'll hook them and they'll be on the back barb. Okay, here's a couple things you can do when you start noticing that. First thing you have to do is, and the easiest thing, is to make some type of a lure color or lure profile change. The first thing that I do if I'm getting a short striking fish, I change my lure color. Now that could be anything. It's just, there's not one rule that fits everything on what you should do if the fish is short striking. Sometimes they want a bright aggressive color to get them to eat it more, and sometimes they want a more neutral, subdued color. You have to experiment, but that's the first thing, is to change your lure color. The next thing you want to do is change your lure profile size. A lot of times if you have the short strikers, it's a good indication to downsize your lures. So just go smaller. If you're throwing a 4.5-inch jerkbait, go to a 3.5-inch model. If you're getting some bites on an 8-inch plastic worm, go down to a 6-inch plastic worm. If you're, feeling them thump your crankbait, or you're having them jump off your crankbait, downsize to a smaller crankbait. That can really help out. But the number one thing that I'll give you guys some tips, guys, if you're getting a short striking fish, it's usually an indication to change your retrieve or your cadence. And usually what it amounts to is increasing the speed level of your speed or retrieve. And that, because what that does, it helps create a reaction strike. If the fish get too good at the look of the bait, that is when they tend not to commit to it. And a lot of times if you fish the bait faster, they tend to react to it and they don't have time to think about it. So another thing you can do is if they're hitting your crankbaits and jerkbait short, speed up your retrieve. Work that jerkbait faster, work that crankbait faster. If you're getting bites on like a worm or a jig and missing them, try hopping that jig or that worm higher off the bottom. If you're having them come up on a fluke and look at the fluke and not get it, speed that fluke up. Just a couple different factors there. But usually that's the three things, guys. It's speeding your retrieve up, changing your colors, changing your profiles of your lures, and that will usually fix it a little bit. But it's going to fix it some, but it's not going to fix it all. A lot of times that's just what happens. I mean, that's just the mood of the fish. But those are a few things you can do to help out. So anyway, I hope it helps you guys land more fish. We'll talk later.